And welcome to my video newsletter podcast or videocast or webinar, whatever the normal technology is. And really, what a month September has been. It's been quite phenomenal for people out there. I suppose in terms of anxiety, I've never really had a month quite like September where lots and lots of people were coming to me using the word, I've been really anxious. I'm really anxious at the moment, Phyllis. And in sort of taking all of that on board and helping them sort of see where that anxiety came from, I suddenly became aware of not my own anxiety, but a slight edge, an old habit that I had obviously formulated in my mind and integrated into myself. And it took me a while just to recognise that I too was in a little bit of an anxious state. But where did that anxiety come from? So from my own personal perspective, I think for some people, and especially for myself, I just get used to worrying about the same things. I don't actually recognise that those worries or concerns have moved on, or that I no longer need to worry. And so I talked about way back in May how my partner and I, we had sort of recalibrated our lives. We were looking at things really differently, and we sort of instigated this plan. And it was all about sticking to the plan. And of course we stuck to the plan. In September was that first time we'd stuck to the plan. We were reaping the benefits of this new way of living, new way of thinking and being. So we were reaping the benefits of that, but all of a sudden it was like, well, wow, what is the plan? What are we doing now? Where is our focus, or where is our goal? And I suddenly realised that all of these old habits, and I would say they were habits more than anything else, suddenly surfaced up to the top. Now, of course, the key is recognising those old habits and asking, well, do they actually belong to me, or do they actually belong to the person that I'm worrying about, or the situation that I was worrying about? And for me, it was that really stark reality of, wow, Phyllis, you've really just got to stop worrying and just let it go. Everything is fine. So for some people in September, there was that aspect of them worrying, but it was quite habitual. For other people, however, it was an escalation of events and their fears. So their fears were coming up to the surface, and therefore their anxiety was then becoming a little bit more heightened. And one of the things that really came out for me, and it was quite stark, was not only listening to radio podcasts in which the poem If was talked about in that, but emails from people to say, oh, have you seen this poem by Rudyard Kipling, If? And I hadn't actually, although I do have a very similar one, which is called The Invitation. But I went and read Rudyard Kipling, and I've actually popped it at the bottom of the newsletter, so please scroll down and have a look at this poem, because I think what it did, it summed up a lot of what people were feeling, and certainly it helped me refocus and bring myself back. And I popped it out onto my spiritual Facebook page, and some beautiful comments from people who felt, wow, that's just what I needed to hear at this point in time. So where does that leave us? What is the message that September has really brought forward? I think it's sort of threefold, really. The first thing is that we are in an ever-changing world, and we really have to recognise that people can change, or situations do change, and that you change along with that. So be aware of your changes and move with the times. Sometimes, a bit like me, I hadn't quite caught up with my changes. I was still thinking I was back in May, but actually we actually had cleared a lot of the old way of being and moved into this new way. The second thing is to recognise that you really are in control, that we can let our fears overwhelm us at times. However, as the saying goes, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. So take control of your fears. See if they are rational fears, if you actually do have something to be frightened about, or are they irrational? There is no basis for that fear. If there is no basis for that fear, then it's just a case of you having to change your perspective around that fear and be really aware that in an irrational fear, that has quite a strong hold over you. It can be quite restrictive, it can be quite overwhelming. So come to terms with your irrational fears and conquer those. If it's a rational fear, something that you should have a little bit of anxiety over, then see how best you can deal with that and make the changes that you need to. And I think on the third level, as we move through our fears, as we conquer our anxieties, as we let go of these old habits, so as I have let go of my old habit of worrying, I've actually really had a lovely time. And I think that's the best way to describe it. I've got a lot more energy. I don't have quite so dark bags under my eyes through worrying, which is a habitual thing for me. I've actually had a lot more centred energy around myself this month, which is really, really noticeable. And I've suddenly realised and had the energy of just enjoying the moment, enjoying each day as it comes. And so September turned out to be a really lovely month at the end, as I recognised my own feelings and then dealt with them on an individual basis. September has come and gone in a flash, as per usual. The months just seem to filter by, and you sort of wonder where the time has gone. But you know, we're more than halfway through this amazing year, this year of a horse, and I think, you know, we have to remember that it's a growth phase. We're finding our feet. Lots of people might be getting upset with you because you're finding your horsepower, you're finding your strength, and they maybe don't like that. They may be finding you slightly different to deal with, or you're not capitulating to other people's demands. And so stick to your guns there. The year of the horse has been about you finding your own strength. The other really huge aspect that came through in September was attachments. Now, again, my whole physical journey has been about attachments, not necessarily me being attached to things or thoughts or people, but I have found I have collected a couple of attachments, and I've had to work really hard at creating my protective boundaries, closing off my energy properly, detaching, so cutting cords or detaching from people. And these thought forms can come to you from any which way. So this video link here can form a link or an attachment to you as you absorb this information. Our day-to-day meeting, our communications through Facebook and email, telephone, physical connection, and I would say not all attachments are necessarily bad, but they can be pervasive or all-invading in your energy. So make sure that you are purging your system or clearing your energy. Now, in a meditation with Archangel Metatron, he came up with this analogy, which I absolutely love. I really love this. I got quite excited, I have to say. And I've used this technique a couple of times now over September, not only just for myself, but with other people. So what Archangel Metatron explained to me was that we, as the physical beings, as the bone and the sinew, we are the hard drive. And so we are physical beings in a multidimensional world, and we're going about our day-to-day business. And he described that attachments are like a virus in our hard drive. Some of these viruses are completely and absolutely harmless. So when we think about the cookies or the malware, well, we're quite happy to have a cookie on our websites. It gives us access, or a certain amount of access, but we don't want malware. Malware is all invading, and it just infects our system, our hard drive. And so he gave me this beautiful analogy that we just need to purge our system every now and then with an antivirus. For me, it was like injecting myself with hundreds and thousands of little orange balls, and these orange balls I just saw them flooding through my system, purging my hard drive of any malware, so that I was completely and utterly protected. And I have to say, having done this process a few times now, it might be something that you might be interested in doing yourself. So if you are, just find yourself in a nice, comfortable position and just really find that space that you can just focus your attention and call upon Archangel Metatron's energy. Now, the easiest way to bring in his energy is through a rainbow light. So just imagine yourself sitting in rainbow colours. And get him to check your hard drive. Get him to check to see what or where the malware is coming from. It could be through your Facebook page, your telephone, your mobile phone, your computer, personal links. It could be anything, because we are a multi-dimensional process. It could be from the astral planes even. And then ask him to download an antivirus that would suit your chemistry and suit your frequency and vibration, so that you are purged. For me, it was just the most amazing sensation. And I would say I am 100% over my dislocated hip, my foundation issues, which I've been really struggling with since April. So it has been a long process. So, maybe don't expect overnight success, but I really, really liked this self-help method that Archangel Metatron bestowed upon me, and I think it's something that is really, really useful for you guys out there. So if you are or have been struggling with attachments of any kind, then use Archangel Metatron and get him to give you an antivirus serum. See how that goes. I would really love to hear how that goes. So you can post a comment just down below on the video clip, or you can send me an email and let me know how you go from there. In this month's newsletter, I had a few people saying that they couldn't quite open up the little screenshot with all the posters for some of the events coming up. So I've had a little play around with the newsletter, and I've just slotted each poster in an individual basis. The Tree of Life workshop is filling up quite nicely, and I must admit I really recommend that workshop for those of you who have maybe really been struggling with your fears, or you have been having a little bit of anxiety. The Tree of Life is a little bit of work from my Transform Your Life work. It's my Transform Your Life coaching skills with the Diana Cooper School, and a little bit of the Kabbalah. It's a really relaxing day. It's a slow-paced day. It's not a high-paced, jamming lots of things in, but it's a very slow and steady pace in which you can allow yourself the time and the energy to really get to grips with who you are spiritually. What is your Tree of Life depicting? And then we will be making a mandala. I'm afraid mine is still half made here. It's still a work in progress, so I'll just find it for you just to let you see. So we've got little beads and crystals, so I've still got my branches to finish off and put up, so I might be finishing my Tree of Life at the next Tree of Life session, which is on the 2nd of November. So it's a one-day workshop, and I would really recommend it. I've had such amazing feedback from the people who did attend. This is one of the strongest workshops I've ever presented, so there's that going on. There is, of course, our session with the Animal Vibrational Therapy Workshop on the 26th of October. There are still 3 places left on that one. And my Reiki Academy, I've started just putting out my Reiki Academy on the new website, which is www.thephoenixlightfoundation.co.nz. So you'll see all of the dates, costs, and you can book online via that one. So there's lots going on, there's lots to be seen, and there's lots to participate in. Quite what October is going to bring, I don't know. We just had that beautiful, beautiful super red moon or blood moon last night, and having walked down Sumner Bay just along the seafront there, the moon was just quite spectacular, I have to say. So I'm not quite sure what that means for this month. However, I hope that you have a healthy, happy and prosperous month ahead. I look forward to seeing you next month in this video clip. And stay tuned in terms of doing my webinar. I have not forgotten Mr. Murray Carter, who was keen to participate in a free webinar about the spiritual laws. So I've just discovered some really unique and awesome things on YouTube. So I'm going to get some tutorial, hopefully, on Monday from my son about how to use those new apps, and we could be streaming live on YouTube, and I'll send out a special newsletter if you want to know what the spiritual laws are, and apparently you can participate as well. So I'm very excited that I feel I've found a webinar application that I can know and trust. So have a great month ahead. Thank you so much for all of your love and support once again through the month of September, and I'll be talking to you soon. Take care for now. Namaste.